pollution as usual. These are the three main challenges we face as far as pollution is concerned in the country. And statistically, the government spends about 6.2 billion Ghana cedis trying to resolve issues or problems related to sanitation. And as a developing country where we need so much to spend on, I mean, we have other alternatives that we can spend these huge amounts of money on. For instance, if you look at this secondary school issues, double track system, if government can save money from these waste issues, we can use that money to build additional facilities for our children. Meanwhile, we are spending this much on sanitation issues. So the government is trying its best. So if I'm to mention the government intervention so far, the government of Ghana has implemented laws and programs to manage plastic waste effectively. And these include the ban on plastic production and import in 2008 and the establishment of the Plastic Waste Recycling Fund in 2011, funded through proceeds from the levying of 10% environmental excise tax on imported plastics and related items. And additionally, the government established the Ghana National Plastic Action Partnership, an improved national plastic management policy in 2020, which aims to implement programs to comprehensively manage used plastics across their life cycle and value chain as a vehicle for sustainable development. And upon government intervention to help resolve these issues, and if our daily activities such as burning refuse unappropriately, I mean, throwing rubbish anywhere, at the end of the day, the consequence is that it's going to create flooding, it's going to breed mosquitoes that will end up getting malaria across. So, and even with this current administration, which has decided to dedicate 10% of every fund that is going to various metropolitan, municipal, and district assembly, basically for sanitation, we can all see that the government is trying its best to help resolve these problems. But the question is, are we getting the results that we are all looking for? And it's no. Even if it's yes, the result is minimal because every year it keeps on flooding. We see the outbreak of cholera every year and airborne diseases such as tuberculosis every year. It means even though the government is trying, but the result, as we all expected, is not coming. So it's about time that as individuals, as groups, as NGOs like the KNUST, EcoGuard, we can all come together and find the best solution that we can all rally behind to at least reduce this amount of money we are spending on sanitation issues and bring down sicknesses related to sanitation issues. So as a youth group, I mean the Ashanti Youth for Sanitation, we have taken it upon ourselves that if we are to leave everything to the government or these stakeholders, we don't think we can get the results that we all want. So at the Ashanti Youth for Sanitation, we have decided to engage ourselves in various or regular cleanup exercises. And we do collaborate with various metropolitan assembly. Recently, we did one with the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, and we have been doing same with the Old Tafo Municipal Assembly, Fabri East, Swami. And I think these are the kind of actions we all want everyone to come on board to support. At least if you clean your house, tidy your place very nicely, who would then take care of the streets? One would say Zoomlion and the likes, but these people their activities are not enough to make sure we have a clean environment. So it's about time that we all volunteer to come together, make sure that everything that we do is in conformity with the environment that we all find ourselves in. And apart from our daily campaigns, cleanup campaigns, we also engage in advocacy activities. And government alone cannot do it. So sometimes we make suggestions and recommendations to various government institutions that, for the look of things, we see this and that. If only you can consider and implement this, we hope it's going to help resolve these sanitation issues that we are facing. And moreover, we engage ourselves in education at various marketplaces, at lorry terminals, at institutions, hospitals, schools, and all that. We make sure that we give them the needed education. We let them appreciate the consequences of activities in our various households. So at least if the person used to throw rubbish anyhow, from that day onwards, the person will appreciate those activities and the consequences and try to minimize that. So we were very happy for this invitation and for this program. And I learned this coming Saturday we'll be having a cleanup exercise in collaboration with the Uforiko Municipal Assembly. And on this note, I will encourage each and everyone over here that to fully participate, and not you alone. Tell your friends, whoever you find around, to come together, because what the people of Accra experience, I'm not sure you'll be happy to experience same here in Kumasi. And it's not about you doing it. Sometimes someone sitting somewhere will do it, and you will face the consequences. And I think recently, KNUST experienced flooding incident, and I'm not sure that was caused by people around campus or on campus here. But at the end of the day, we were facing the consequences. So we encourage each and everyone here that on Saturday, tell your friend and you come by yourself. So we all come together then do this cleanup exercise. The program didn't start as we all expected. So on this note, I will thank you all for coming, even though you have other busy schedules, but you try to come. Thank you so much, and God bless you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for the information, and thank you for the knowledge. We really appreciate it. So our next speaker is Mrs. Lois Inyame.
Good evening, everyone. First off, I'd like to thank the organizers for inviting me, and I'm glad to be part of this program. As you heard, my name is Loisa Manyame. I'm a final year midwifery student, and I'm excited to be here this evening. So, Mr. Charles has said a lot, and we are running out of time, so I'll keep my presentation short. I had a lot of things I was going to talk about, but he mentioned a lot. So we are going to talk about how environmental pollution affects our health in general, and then we'll talk about how environmental pollution can affect maternal and child health. So, as a soon-to-be midwife, most of the times when people talk about environmental pollution, they barely talk about how it affects maternal and child health. And since this is in my field, I think it would be better for me to let you guys know how environmental pollution can also affect maternal and child health. Then we'll talk about some of the prevention or measures that we can put in place to deal with environmental pollution. Okay. So yeah, we all know what the environment is, right? So from basic school, we've all been taught that the environment refers to the things that surround us. Very good. So at that time, at that time we learned that definition to write exams and pass, right? But today I want us to look at the definition of an environment from a different direction. So I would like to adjust the definition a little. So maybe we can say the environment refers to the food that we eat, the air that we breathe in, the water that we drink, and then the community that we live in. So, looking at it from this direction, it makes us understand that when the environment is polluted, it is not only the environment that suffers, but we also suffer because we cannot do without the environment, right? Now, environmental pollution refers to introducing harmful substances into the environment and then polluting it. That one, so I will not talk much. We can move on to the. So, there are a lot of types of, there are several types of environmental pollution. Now, from the images I've projected, we can tell that this is noise pollution. We can tell this is water pollution, this is land pollution, and then air pollution. Now, we are not usually affected by this most in the part of the country that suffers and in turn affects us too. That is why we need to focus on how to combat environmental pollution. Yes, so I'll be talking about how environmental pollution affects us in general, right? Then at the latter part, I'll add how it affects maternal and child health. So when it comes to air pollution, and then it's as time goes on, it makes us develop conditions that are respiratory related. So conditions such as asthma, pneumonia, chronic cough, COPD. So COPD too is called chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder. We can also develop eye irritation. Now, talking about maternal and child health, the baby that is found in the mother's fetal, the fetus that is found in the mother's belly can develop low birth weight. So in midwifery, when a baby is not born and is found in the mother's womb, it is called a fetus. So you'll be hearing me talking about fetus often. So there's a particular range of decades that, or a particular range of weight that a fetus is supposed to reach to show that it is within the normal range, right? Now we have the minimum number and then the maximum number. When the fetus in the mother's womb doesn't meet the minimum number, it hasn't even been born onto this world yet. Also, it can cause preterm birth. So preterm birth affects the mother. So in midwifery, today I'll be talking about midwifery a lot because I'm a midwifery student. So you guys will be learning a lot of things from midwifery. A woman gives birth before 37 weeks, it is considered as preterm birth, right? Now, when she gets these conditions, it can cause preterm birth. Also, it can lead to fetal growth retardation. So, fetal growth retardation means that the fetus is unable to grow properly as it should. Now, we can go to the next one, which is water pollution. So when we dispose waste into our water bodies, it can make us get cholera, typhoid, diarrhea, and then malaria. So for malaria, the water bodies that are polluted sort of become like a breeding area for mosquitoes, right? And then they can transmit malaria from one person to the other. Now, from cholera and typhoid too, assuming where I stay, I dispose of waste into the water. Now, the thing is that because of how the earth is was created by God, our water moves in cycle, right? So, assuming I dispose of the waste in the water bodies in my community, it can move to another person's community, and then when they do not treat their water bodies properly, they can end up getting these conditions. Or if I'm found in another community and then someone else disposes waste in their water bodies in their community, the water body can also come to my community, and when I do not treat it properly, I can still get these conditions. So environmental pollution can directly or indirectly affect us. Even if we are trying our best to protect the environment, someone's mistake can make us bear the consequences. Now, for malaria, when you develop malaria, it causes you are at a higher risk of getting anemia because the parasites that the mosquitoes produce, they feed on our red blood cells. Also, in pregnancy, because you are carrying another human in your system, it makes you at risk of getting anemia because the fetus in your body also depends on the red blood cells that you are having in your body. So for that one alone, okay. So pregnancy in itself can make you get anemia. So assuming a pregnant woman who is struggling with anemia develops malaria, it means that she can get to a point where her anemia will become very severe, and that can lead to a miscarriage. So the baby comes out like it's terminated. So naturally, the pregnancy is terminated before 20 weeks. Or the baby can develop, but then by the time the mother will be due to give birth, the baby will be dead, and that is known as stillbirth. Now, to land pollution too can also cause the spread of malaria. It can lead to food poisoning. It can lead to rodent infestation, so like mice, rats, and then those creatures. It can also cause flooding. So Mr. Charles spoke about the flooding that occurred in Greater Accra. It was as a result of environmental pollution. So people dispose of their rubbish into gutters, and the gutters become choked. Others to pour their rubbish into water bodies, and all these things led to the flood that occurred. Also, for maternal and child health, it causes anemia, miscarriage, and stillbirth. I've already explained this, so we can move on. Yeah, so this is the picture that I want you guys to see. I took it from one of the online pages that broadcast news, right? So they took this picture during the flood. The people that are affected by this flood, I want to believe that not all of them were polluting the environment. There could be some people that were actually trying to protect the environment, but because other people were not doing what they were supposed to do, they all suffered the consequences. Now, the thing about flood is that when it starts, it doesn't discriminate, because this is where the water is struggling to find a place to be, and now the gutters are choked, everywhere is choked. People are building in places where they are not supposed to build, and so they are blocking pathways of water. When when it gets to a point where the water bodies are struggling to find a place to be, and then they cannot get anywhere, they do not discriminate between the people that pollute the environment and the ones that protect it. Everyone becomes affected. So it's very important that as we are trying our best to protect the environment, we make sure that the people that are in our surroundings too, we are educating them so they can also protect the environment. Else we might be protecting the environment, someone else will be polluting it, and then at the end of the day, it will look like our efforts are going down the drain, because we all will suffer the consequences of environmental pollution. So what can we do about it? We are going to talk about some of the preventive measures that we can put in place. Yes, so for the first point, there's a story behind it. And Mr. Edwin came at the right time. So the thing is, I'm a volunteer at an organization that he has founded. Now, the first time that I volunteered, we were told that when we are going to buy groceries or something, we should go with like maybe like a tote bag or something, so that we will stop taking plastic bags away, and that will reduce like the waste in our environment, right? So since that time, I got like this very cheap tote bags that I carry to the market every single time. It's not the aesthetically pleasing ones. So each time I go to the market, when the market women, and when I buy things from them and then they want to give it to me in a rubber, I'm like, oh no, I have a bag here. So they give it to me. And there's something I've been doing for years now, since level 100. That was why I placed that as the first point. So we all can start doing that too. Now, the second one, we can properly dispose of waste. We stop pouring our waste into water bodies. We will stop avoiding, we will avoid burning rubbish to prevent air pollution. Also, we keep our gutters clean. Then educate people, as I said, so that our efforts will not go down the drain. Now, community cleanups. Mr. Charles encouraged all of us to be present on Saturday to participate in the cleanup exercises. Also, we can engage in tree planting. Yeah, so thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much for your insight. So I'm very sorry. So with the first speaker, yeah, the first speaker is a director of OTAFO, a welfare officer on sanitation. So that's who he is. Very sorry, he said. He's very sorry for. Can you give him a round of applause? Okay, so looking at sanitation, you could see that it's something that most Ghanaians are not being aware of. We are neglecting because we think that once we don't get the dustbins, we could have other options in disposing our waste. When you see the flood that occurred in Accra, a massive flood where you had a lot of families, even people, to the extent that people even died, choke gutters, destroying homes. I think it's out of the, if I could say, the carelessness of how we train or maintain our environment. So from this study, what I hope is that we'll go here equipped, we'll go here with a knowledge system that will always keep tidiness to wherever we are. Okay, so we have our next speaker. That will be the one. That will be the one to give us the insight. That will be the one to dissect what we are going to do today. So we have a man, we have a leader, we have a speaker. He is an environmental sustainability and professional communication strategist. So he is coming to give us strategical understanding of how to maintain our environment. Please kindly, or can we welcome Mr. Edward K. Banford. Thank you. It's my first time holding two microphones at the same time. So, hello everyone. It's good to be back here at KNUST and to see all of you joyfully seated to be part of the EcoGuard campaign. Please let's celebrate the organizers. Yeah, Rahina and her team. I think that I want you to also help me to celebrate Miss Lois. You done so well. Thank you very much. I'm sure by now we have a fair idea of what it means when the environment goes south. I was not here to hear the words of our honorable, but please, thank you so much for making time to join us here today. Now, when we often hear strategic communication and advocacy, many of us will start thinking about scientific terms and technical language, but today we are not going to do that. We are going to take our time and really go through something that will equip each of us to become people who can call ourselves leaders in our communities, people who can take initiative to solve some of the environmental challenges we have in our communities. Show by hand if you've seen any environmental challenge in your community, not on campus, where you live. If you are being honest, yeah, that's you. Now, show by hand if you've done something about it. It's interesting because the problem of environmental sustainability, which we face rampantly in this country, is not something that is perpetuating because we lack knowledge. Many of us, in fact, all of us know when something is going wrong in the environment. We all see it and we all recognize it. But the problem of environmental pollution is not only a knowledge issue as much as it is something that has to do with behavior, attitudes. And if you've been in the country since the past 2 weeks, I'm sure you've heard that word raining around, especially on social media. Attitude, attitude, attitude. I'm going to go through the next 20 minutes sharing with you how we can move from pollution to community action. If the projection gentleman can help me out, I'll be quick with this. Now, the reason this conversation is important is that it is not only about science. We all have adequate knowledge, at least the basic knowledge. What Ms. Lloyd shared about environment and health is something we can all relate with. But environmental pollution goes beyond just that. It's also about how much attention we are paying to our behaviors. It's also about communication, and it's also about leadership. I've always maintained that everything rises and falls on leadership. And whenever there is a problem, it is all the time a leadership problem, because it takes a leader to solve problems. It takes a leader to solve challenges and take initiatives that bring about progress. You've all seen before that a vehicle passes and all of a sudden people pick their handkerchiefs and want to cover their noses. I think I even did that just yesterday. I didn't have a handkerchief, so I had to do this. We've all done it before. We've all seen Wiwi River and asked ourselves, why is this river now brown? I travel to the Eastern Corridor a lot. I see the Pra River and everything. Why is it that now the condition of our rivers is not what it should be? Why is it that now you buy cabbage and the cabbage tastes some way? I've done some work with my organization and our volunteers to reclaim galamsey lands. And it is sad to mention here that we get to galamsey sites and the cabbage that we get when we buy our wache, that is where the cabbage is grown, just to reclaim the land. So the next time you buy food from, let me do some adverts, Silver Lobster, and you get cabbage, know that that cabbage may not exactly be cabbage that is very healthy for you, because there is a high risk, a high chance that that cabbage was grown on a land reclamation site, and that means you are likely to be taking in something that's not very healthy for you. Now, that's how close environmental pollution comes to us. It is not only about the science and the policies and everything we tend to talk about. In Ghana, one of the major challenges we face when it comes to pollution is solid waste management. It's usually a mix of the different waste streams. We have plastic waste, which is dominating everywhere. We have solid waste itself. Sometimes we even have fecal matter mixing up with everything. So mixed streams of waste traveling all over the place. And I want us to take some time to assess what it really means when we talk about pollution. I'll define pollution here as something that happens when substances or energy is released into the environment in a quantity that is beyond what the environment itself can manage. Now, the environment has what is called the assimilative capacity. What that means is that the environment has, or let me say nature, has it within itself to be able to take care of waste to a certain degree. There's a threshold. But once that threshold is exceeded, then things begin to fall apart. When I was in this school I was here in 2015 to 2019. In my second year, I took a course in forest biomes. We went to Mecca Road. That whole place was forested. In fact, that's where we had that practical course. When we wanted to learn about forest biomes, we went to Mecca Road. But today, the place it's as if there was nothing there like that. And so when I saw the floods recently, I started thinking, oh, okay, it could be that because we attacked the natural ecosystem in that place, it could just be just my thinking. It could be that that's the reason we are facing all these things on the campus. So think of this situation. The market woman, after selling the fried yam, I don't even know why I'm using fried yam, but after selling the fried yam and the gizzard, comes to the Kote station and just dumps the peelings into the gutter and goes home to sleep. She has a peaceful rest. Just that same night, there's a heavy downpour which carries everything. She comes up in the morning and realizes that nothing is there. So in her assumption, everything is gone. It's dealt with. Because it's biological peelings from yam, it may end up on soil and biodegrade after a few days or weeks. What happens when people throw away sachet pure water? One day, I was coming back to my hostel. I saw a gentleman at gate, Ayediasi gate, and he was drinking water. After drinking, a university student. And then I turned to talk to him and realized he had bigger muscles. So I just turned and went back where I was going. I couldn't address him. But I've addressed so many secondary school students. Even just yesterday, someone came in front of my office, drank, just put it there. I called him. I said, young man, you can't do that. Pick it up. These things pile up, get to a point where the environment cannot take care of it anymore. That is the assimilative capacity of the environment. Take me to, please, slide number 4. Good. Now, when we talk of pollution, there are 4 things I want us to pay attention to. Pollution always has a source, there's always a pathway, there's always a receptor, and there's always an effect. Now, the source of the pollution, obviously, is where the pollutant is coming from. There's always a pathway. How does it move through the system? That's what I was describing when I was talking about the yam seller dumping peelings into the gutter. There's always a receptor. Who is going to bear the costs of pollution? The environment is a very complex system, and it's a closed system. What it means is that nothing leaves the environment and nothing comes in. This is the law of thermodynamics. Nothing really leaves and nothing really comes in. It is always converted from one state to another. What it means is that whatever we introduce is something that is going to stay with us, just that it will exist in a different form. Sometimes it will exist as heat, and so we say, hey, a higher show. Sometimes it will exist as waste. Hey, it is all because of what we are introducing. Then there's always an effect. We hear of floods in Accra, and we are wondering where the rains are coming from. Actually, the water content in the ecosystem has not increased. It is still the same, moving in different forms. So how is it that all this while it was in one state and now it is becoming something that is detrimental to us? It is because our actions are causing that to happen. Now, I want us to also pay attention to the campaign and advocacy bit of this conversation, because that is why we gathered here. Let's go to slide number 6. Awareness alone rarely changes behavior. We are all aware of the challenges we can face when things are not working well in the environment. Why are environmental challenges still prevailing? The answer is very simple. We all are always looking for a convenient life. She just spoke to you about shopping with reusable bags. When I was in school, I would use
my backpack to buy gobe from Ajwa Gobe at what's the name? Nanadoma. That's all right. Thank you. Convenience. Oh, let's buy in a pack. Weak systems. There is nothing, even on this university campus, that checks how much plastic is churned out. I know this because my MPhil research was in plastic waste. I successfully converted plastic waste into usable fuels. So I know what I'm saying. I've done a lot of research concerning the plastics management on this campus. There are not exactly a lot of systems to manage it that are working well. We put yellow bins around and say plastics only. I myself have done donations with my team to primary schools and said, put only plastic waste here. But we know that it is not only plastic waste that will end up there. Social norms. Waste has become something we easily accept into our lives. The moment I sat, I was served with this. I see that we all have this on our decks. It's high time we buy reusable bottles. One day I made a post about reusable bottles. Someone questioned me and asked, where will we get the water from? We'll buy sachet and pour it into the reusable bottle. Where does the sachet go? So it is really about the system in the country that is running everything. Habit and leadership gap. I want to pay attention to how leadership affects everything. And as people who want to go into environmental management, I want us to understand that without leadership, nothing works well. Please take me to the next slide, where I show you a simple practical framework for community campaigns. If you are here and you want to, in fact, as you are here, I'm assuming that you may have a desire to cause a change. You want to be a change maker. You want to be someone who makes things happen positively. The key is to just start, and that's an abbreviation. First off, pay attention to what is happening in your community and study the issue. Observe to see what is truly happening. Check out what the challenge truly is. Is it a behavioral issue? Is it because there's a lack of systems? What is really happening? Target one behavior. Define the exact behavior. When you go to a place like Queen's Market and you want to solve a problem there, you don't just talk to them and say, let's keep the environment clean. When you go to Queen's Market, you say specific things. You say, let's replace polythene rubbers with paper packaging. Once you start doing that, you are solving problems. People do not appreciate vagueness when it comes to environmental communication. We need to be clear and specific. We need to activate allies. Now, people do well when they gain trust in communities. If you want to ever do something meaningful in your community, you need to understand that people like the assemblyman and the chief, if there's any, and the MP, and people like the YA director who is here, all these people are influential people that you should get aboard if you want to create change in your community. And then just start, run your campaign. Today there's social media. You can easily walk into a school, seek permission, and start talking to children, which is something that is deeply on my heart because I see that in the next 30 years, our brothers and sisters in primary school are going to be the leaders of this country. And if you're able to get them to reason well with respect to sustainability, then you have a better hope. And track progress. When you are doing something that is not measured, in fact, what gets measured gets managed. You cannot manage anything when you don't have an idea how it's going or what is happening. And this is exactly what we've been doing at, let's go to the next slide as I wrap up. Next slide again. Next slide. Next slide. Thank you. This is what we've been doing at Environmental Leadership Forum. ELF is a youth-led non-profit organization that started on this campus in 2021 when I was having my master's. We started this, and that's how I met her. Interestingly, we are here today together. And in 5 years, we've been able to plant over 4,000 seedlings in Ashanti region. I'm sure if I pass here, I'll see trees that I planted with these hands just around. Yeah, I see. Yeah. We've planted trees at Faculty of Allied Health and in different places on this campus, senior staff clubhouse, all of that. We've done 6 community projects just with the help of student volunteers like you. And so this is an invitation to you that at ELF, we are focused on education, leadership development, everything rises and falls on leadership. We are focused on community service and advocacy. And as you are here seeking to become people who take initiative in your communities, this is a good place to start. This is a great place to start, actually. I've seen people who come to school very shy, unable to do anything in front of people, join us, and by their final year, they are starting YouTube channels. That's a lot of transformation. The next slide. So I'll wrap up this way and just share with you that noticing something is not enough. Nothing changes until people take responsibility. If we are going to continue sitting, I'm going to focus on from a number of times to talk about environmental challenges, and very soon I'll go there again because of our 5th anniversary. If we are going to continue sitting there and always talking, nothing is going to change. We need to move from just talking about things to changing our behaviors and taking massive action. I want to take the opportunity to invite you, please hold on, you can share it, to our 5th anniversary celebration, which is happening on 14th August at the Impact Building. At the same time, I am publishing my very first book, 27 at 27, which are reflections on purpose, growth, and fulfillment. I believe that everything created serves a purpose. And as individuals, we are here on specific assignments. This is not a book coming from someone who has life figured out. This is from someone who has taken a pause to observe his life and learn lessons that can help young people. So you're invited. If you receive the flyer, there's a link there. You can register to show your interest so that we're prepared to receive you. Thank you so much, and I'm open to any questions you may have. Questions? If anyone has a question. Hello, everyone. Are there questions in the house? All right. If you want to join us, please display our website address. I'm sure there is. Great. So you can check out our website, ELF Ghana, the last but one slide, or maybe even the last. Perfect. There's a section for volunteers. You can sign up and join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the information. Thank you very much for the knowledge. Impact. God richly bless you. As we bring the curtains to close, thank all of you for coming. I thank all of you also for coming, your time, your dedication, and I also thank the speakers for their teachings and their impact. Please, one more time, can you give a round of applause for them again? Okay. So there'll be a cleanup section on Saturday. If you want to join, we'll be glad to have you. We'll be glad to have you on board. So there'll be names, there'll be a paper and a pen going on. So if you are interested in joining the cleanup or the sanitation cleanup, please write your name for us.
So, hello everyone. Thank you very much for coming today. On Saturday, we are having a cleanup exercise at Third Junction and Alonga Junction. It's going to be fun and interesting. There's also going to be item 13. So if you are interested, you can meet me at the back and write your name so I will know that you are part of us when you come on that day. There will be transportation too, so no stress. Thank you very much.
So, and there'll be a free tutorials for photography and editing. That is free on September. So if you are interested, you can also you can also join. So I think it's posting it, get the link. With item 30, we are still putting things together for those who did not get. So please have patience for us. And thank you very much again for coming one more time. Okay, so thank you very much again. So please